Welcome back to the Daily Thunder podcast. I'm Ryan Woods. I'm here with editor-in-chief Cray Allred. How are you, Cray?
I'm moving forward. I'm moving ahead. I'm thinking positive thoughts, and I'm ready for the summer. So I'm better than I was a couple weeks ago.
I mean, that's a riveting review. We have a guest today, Cray, a first-time guest. Just thrilled to have our guy Wes Hill joining us for the first time on the Daily Thunder podcast. Wes, how are you, brother?
I'm doing good. Should I sing? Should I have
Boy,
a
would we
song
love
ready
that.
to go?
Boy, would we love
We're a
that.
karaoke site. Absolutely. Brandon's a karaoke guy.
I'll
Yeah.
save
Yeah,
it for my second time. But I'm doing well. I'm feeling good. Happy to be here.
Wes is a longtime Thunder fan, ball knower, Oklahoma City native, also a Sooner guy. Yeah, he's got takes. He's got opinions. They're gonna come in hot and heavy, no doubt about it. Cray, would you
Listener
like to
beware.
start? We have not spoken since Game 7. At least you and I haven't on the podcast. So, what would you like to give? Maybe a brief reaction to, or just maybe you've had about 10 days to think about it. How are you feeling about how the Thunder season ended?
It was
If you
brutal.
made it out.
It was
Yeah,
a
it
very
was.
brutal ending. I think, like a lot of Thunder fans, I think I'm of two minds of the kind of the step back, the injuries, the, incredible opponent in the Spurs, and yada, yada. That's the excuse making, the rationalization, the things that ease the pain that are true. I don't think, it wasn't the 2016 Warriors blowing a 3-1 lead or something like that, right? But it stings. I think the whole series, because they went up, because they had a chance, because they gave themselves a chance, and frankly, because the role players that we were worried about stepping up and giving the stars a chance did so. And we were down a star, down more than that, and especially one star didn't rise to the occasion the same as the role players. So I am. I think it's a pretty big bummer and a pretty big failure of a game and kind of last couple 2-3 games of the series. But on the whole, on paper, it's not the worst loss in the world. It's not the most, blow up the team, fire everyone, trade everyone. It's not that, but it sucked.
Do you feel more rational about it now than you did like an hour after the game?
No, because so I've written a couple, we heard all the players talk about it. I've written a couple pieces on it. I think, long term, I'm not that upset. I think I'm way high on the Chet optimism scale specifically right now relative to the fan base. But I will say, and this is the one piece I haven't finished yet, but I have rewatched Game 7, specifically the fourth quarter, and it is very upsetting. It is.
Which
It was
Keldon Johnson 3 was the most upsetting?
So the way I put it, it's not about that. It's about they were within 2 points. Shea was standing at the scorer's table to check back in with 10 minutes left to go. They gave up a few more, but the main things that I can't get over is Shea came in. They were close. Alex Caruso tried to posterize Victor Wembanyama, and he almost did, and he got fouls. Cason Wallace draining clutch, huge threes.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Chet would not look at the rim. Frankly, may have been avoiding eye contact with his teammates before the ball made it to him on multiple occasions. And even Shea, awesome Game 7, great Game 7. But down the stretch, I'm sorry, the team was too scared of Victor Wembanyama. They were too scared of Wemby, especially when he had 5 fouls. He had 5 fouls, and Alex Caruso's trying to dunk on him. And there were multiple possessions where Wemby Island was not kick out. And even in those last sequences, Shea didn't push it on him. He didn't. He drove to the paint with a plan to turn around and do one of those uh-ohs. I've been making fun of the uh-ohs all season about how exaggerated people are. Everything's an uh-oh. Everything's a never mind. Well, they did a few never minds against Wemby when they had a chance to tie or win the Western Conference Finals. So as you can say, I'm not actually that over it. But it's just there were specific plays that it's just all over the court. It's all over the play-by-play, the tape of they didn't believe they were gonna pull it. They didn't all believe they were gonna pull it out. And I think the other thing I would cite is Mark Daigneault didn't think so because he had Lou Dort and Kenrich Williams on the floor and Jared McCain and not Chet to win the series. So it's
Well, to be
yeah.
fair, Chet hadn't been closing a few of those games that they won.
That's true. That's true. Thank you for pulling me back a little bit. It felt different this time.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, thank you for sharing. That was I know that helped you as it does all of us.
Okay.
Speaking of an hour after the game, Wes and I were on the phone, talking about it, as we do. Full disclosure, behind the curtain, Wes, my brother-in-law, and we have probably spent, what, 10,000 hours on the phone or in person talking
Minimum.
about this team, minimum? How like,
Over the
we're
course
10.
since, like, 2010, not, like, just
Yeah, 15 years. Since game 7 ended, how have your thoughts changed or not changed?
Yeah, I mean, I've gone through all the stages of grief, I feel,
Mhm.
and kinda just the roller coaster of emotion. Agree with everything Cray said. I've been optimistic. I've been like, "Well, we've gotta look for other pieces." Obviously, the injuries playing the role that they did, but, I think I would probably be more on the optimistic glass half full side of, I guess, most of the stuff I've seen online. Even in regards to Chet, although there is some interesting clips of him just, like, running the sideline back and forth as other people work. The Hartenstein steal and take down the floor has replayed in my mind more times than I care to admit.
That
Uh,
one. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
just to even get
And
those words out was hard for me just now.
I think we were, like, really more than anything, I know people were really impressed with Cornette, and it was a good play, but at no point did I think that this was going to end well with Hardenstein, like, running down the floor with the ball. Like, I just didn't think there
It
were any good
felt
options
like,
coming.
and this may be too far of a pull for some people, it felt like the spirit of Derek Fisher
Yes,
overcame
100%,
iHeart in that moment, and I
100%.
fell to my knees in agony, as I had before, when Derek Fisher made a similar play. I can't remember the game, but I remember it vividly.
I think it was against the Spurs, actually.
It was. I believe it was
Yeah.
as well.
Derek Fisher Spurs. Yeah, I'm
26,
gonna get
20
even worse,
4
guys.
20
I don't want to just
2014?
Derek Fisher fall deeper into a hole than. But yeah, I mean, you feel encouraged because of the injuries, being able to push it to a game 7 without the players they were without. At the same time, it's like you play the season to have a game 7 at home and for it to be right there for the taking, and you just couldn't do it. And now we're recording this, seeing what the Knicks have been able to do to the Spurs, and it's just like, so how easy is that? And so, that frustration comes back.
Uh, Cray, as far as the finals go, what what from the Knicks do you see them doing, like, successfully, against Wemby that the Thunder weren't able to do?
I don't really have a lot of unique insights, original thoughts. They are quite capable on offense, or maybe the best offense in the league. Lots of floor spacers and lots of not lots, but enough ball handlers. The clip that went around the world was the blender, the super blender of all of them driving, kicking, screening, relocating, just getting Windy off of his spot and getting the San Antonio scramblers, as I call them. Don't let them ever stop scrambling and turning their hips and trying to catch you. And eventually you find just enough of that crease to get your layup or get your three. And they just have much more of those players compared to the Thunder. And I do also wonder and have been wondering if Wimby generally is wearing down a little bit on defense, especially. A lot of they're losing him on high screens a lot of times, just like getting right by him. It's not necessarily that he isn't going to let someone blow by it, but he's not even like trying to catch up to the play. And he's like
Uh,
the ultimate chase down guy. So I just think they've got more offensive weapons that are able to do more against that very unique tough defense. And also, I mean, they're there for the moment. I think a lot of people are thinking they came up short in game 3. I don't think that was necessarily the case, but not a great game for them, but they're gamers. They're great. I did not realize they were this good. I was one of the doubters. I didn't think they were a bad team, but they're definitely proving themselves to be, especially on offense, very capable. And of course, they have, the ultimate stretch five, not just for Wemby, but for the NBA
Yeah.
in Cat.
Yeah.
So they just got a different toolkit that frankly is probably better suited in offense than the Thunder's toolkit at full strength, but especially with the kind of wounded version of the Thunder.
I've found the size at the wing positions to be really effective. Like Anunoby getting to the rim multiple times has been very effective. And like the specifically the play you mentioned.
Okay, Thunder fans, Cray jumping in here. Gonna do a little ad read for none other than dailythunder.com. Just so you know, we are primarily reader-supported site. We reject gambling money, futures trading. You know who I'm talking about. The folks ruining the internet and rooting Thunder and NBA coverage. We've had offers. We've been invited to join the club to boost the algorithm with tweeting charts that move the action and make people mad and play to the lowest common denominator. That's not what we're about. We're here to follow the game, give real analysis, and be genuine in our takes. So please consider logging on dailythunder.com. We have subscriptions to keep our newsletter in your inbox. We've got pregame coverage, postgame coverage, link roundups, featured articles. We have goofy stuff. We have Saturday morning cartoons with vintage clips from the Thunder past. We have playbook items with games for the nerds, crossword puzzles, Shea Sweeper, our Minesweeper knockoff. We got it all. Anything you want. If you're a nerd, if you're serious, if you like the color and the fun and all in between, sign up dailythunder.com. We've got free subscriptions. We have premium tiers for a little extra bonus exclusive stuff, including some really exciting projects we're working on that we think the audience will be excited about soon. Reject the stupidity. Check out dailythunder.com. We've got the frequent newsletter that sends you everything we got. We've got a once a week newsletter that just keeps you updated as the series goes along. We got live commenting. We've got plenty to stay engaged as a Thunder fan and not be so freaking annoyed by all the noise and all the stupidity out there. Thanks for listening to the show. Share it with a friend. Refer it to someone who knows ball and stay on top of everything Thunder. Thanks.
Wemby's doing like the reason all of those actions are happening is because no one is trying him at the rim there, but they do find like it was just such a good display of like what San Antonio is so good at and what Wemby's so good at, and a team like still working to beat it and finding a great corner look. I think that leads to what I am very interested in talking about tonight is the Thunder's offseason and just some bird's eye view, like things that we might want to see happen, directions they could go, maybe just some curiosities, some questions we have about certain directions and decisions that they have coming up. I did want to mention in relation to the Knicks and the size, like it's it feels very advantageous to play San Antonio with more size on the perimeter. And we've talked about it. I know Wes and I have talked about it offline, but like this team is very built around like bigs, like centers and guards. And I think we saw this year, and J Dub is, I think he plays like a big wing, and that's awesome. And his absence was really felt, obviously. But to add another one of those that could play, that can space, that can make a decision, can attack a closeout, and then that can defend is, I mean, those guys make a ton of money. Those are the guys, the Ananobis, the Aaron Gordons. Those guys make a ton, and they're really good. But this team finding more size that isn't a center, I think, is really important and something they should be very interested in with two 2 picks in the first round here coming up at the end of the month.
Yeah, I agree. You're saying they're expensive. Not like we're gonna acquire any free agents anytime soon. Is Wes, are you a draft guy? Are you
Not I haven't done a lot of research on the current class, but I'll definitely
that
get
just
into
means
that.
you haven't wasted a lot of time.
There you go. There you go. I mean, I've heard some names that I'm interested in. I agree with Ryan certainly about the need and that, those players are not a dime a dozen. And so we are in the fortunate place to have some draft equity to be able to use. And I also wonder, I mean, you know, with what we do have, what's possible? I'm intrigued um, to see where it goes.
Wes, other than health, what do you think it like, let's take getting J-Dub, like, a handle on his, hamstring injuries aside. Let's take that off the table. I think that's a given. AJ, same. Um, aside from injuries, what do you think is, like, the number 1 off-season priority? It could be anything. What would you say is, like, at the top of the list, like, this is number 1?
Well, it's hard to answer because I think, I mean, we're talking about a team that went to game 7 of the Western Conference Finals, and so if we had that health, I think the team would probably be in the finals right now. But I think from a, roster improvement scenario, I think if we can put some of the players that are not able to play or that have fallen out of the rotation, I mean, best case scenario would be able if you can turn those into a player that can play. Something like we did with Usman turning him into McCain, right? You took a player that not in the rotation. Talk about a big wing, by the way.
Truly.
Unfortunately, not able to be in the rotation. So can we turn some other players that have fallen out of the rotation? Can we package those with picks potentially to find somebody who can be in the rotation, or can we draft a player that with size on the wing that can be in the rotation? I guess more to answer your question directly, perimeter size and shooting, I feel like are always a need. I feel like that would be the case for every team.
Mhm,
Like, who doesn't want more shooting and more size on the wing?
mhm, mhm. I don't think I completely agree with that. I probably should have worded the question a little better because I think we would all agree that it's probably one of those team options is even a higher priority than finding outside players. Like, as
Yeah.
far as the those types of, like, Presti decisions, like, what's most important to you on that front as well?
Yeah, sorry, I took the question as, roster changes. I mean, I feel like iHeart, the cornet block play aside, notwithstanding, no, I feel like he just really proved his worth. I mean, I remember after game 1, the national narrative game 1 of the Western Conference Finals, the national narrative was like, "Can you even play him?"
Cray and I talked for, like, an hour about it after
Yeah.
game 1.
And so going from that to the question became like, how do you survive the minutes where he's not on the court? And, what happened with Chet happened. iHeart seems more indispensable than ever. So, I mean, I think we've got to, I feel like that's a priority
Mhm.
for me.
Cray, have you entertained, like, the choose your own adventure path where Hartenstein isn't on the team next year? Have you given that any thought?
I have because I think now I will say I don't know if I don't consider them radical, but I feel like a radical of my off-season priorities, which are basically pay everyone, even if it is overpay everyone.
Yeah,
But
so I do wanna get Wes up to speed on this. Cray is like Cray feels very strongly they should just pick up all the options and bring everyone back, and
Well, I know we're going to get to Presti's comments presser later, but I found it interesting that he mentioned that twice.
Mhm.
For somebody who is as calculated as I believe him to be, he very intentionally twice said, maybe we just basically pick up everybody's option and run it back. I know we'll
thank
probably
you.
talk about that more.
I know Cray was possibly topless at that point, him saying
Standing
that.
ovation.
Yeah.
But what drives me crazy is that's not everyone's talking about him saying we need to turn the page from this season, and everyone like their preconceived thing is that means trade everyone and deal everyone and let people walk. It's like he talked about their contract situation. He didn't say we need to turn the page on these players. But there's part of it is this assumption about OKC being a cheap ownership group and a small market that is just they can't pay the tax. They can't, and this goes back to a couple seasons ago. Presti commenting on the repeater tax, the first apron, the second apron, and he said blatantly, straightforwardly, he said, "We're not going to make any decisions right now, but even as our team's constructed, if we pay everyone and it goes on this way, we won't face the repeater tax until the opt out comes on the
Mhm.
CBA." And somehow there's this thought that we just need to brace and expect for the owners to shed salary, downgrade, downshift, get cheaper, get younger at all costs. And I just, one, I think that is not the most competitive move, and two, that's not what they're saying. It's not what they're projecting. I'm not saying that can't happen, but
Yeah, I don't think that's what they're saying or what they're meaning. The ownership group has paid much more for a much worse team. They paid the highest. No ownership group has paid a higher tax bill than this team or than this group for that. I believe it was the Melo team that second season. Just so expensive.
yeah, Damian Lillard broke up the tax team.
Yes,
Clay Bennett did not.
yes. So
Thank you, Damian Lillard. I mean, I'm kidding.
But I'm back to the Hartenstein thing for you, Cray. Like, you're saying you've given it some thought of like them going a different
Yes,
direction, not
and
for
that
money reasons,
honestly,
just for other reasons.
well, I would say because of for iHeart reasons. You know, he's not underpaid by any means. But they front loaded him
Mhm.
and he got the bag to come here, right? And he loves it here. He loves the team. The team he left is in the finals right now. So it's not like and he won a title, but I just don't know that there's an obvious hometown. I know he loves Oklahoma City, all that. You know, I don't see any bad signs, but if he had a suitor that could guarantee a bigger role, as much or more money, and a good chance at the finals, I think that is a one possibility that we need to take seriously. The Thankfully the market is not fat, you know, pre-agency is where is at and no one has cap room, but
Well, and he's not
things
a
happen.
he. It should be noted he's not a free agent.
Right. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that's it. But, like they can pick it up and play it out and I think they would in this scenario, but who knows how negotiations go, you know? Who knows what promises he's looking for while they're trying to negotiate and extend on the backside of the option and those kind of things, but I would hope that they have him under control. He's an asset. He's a positive asset. And like earlier, we're talking, it'd be great to get a big that can survive the Western Conference Finals as a rookie. But is that realistic with the
Yeah.
12th pick or the 17th pick or even, honestly, even the fourth pick? I don't know that that's realistic for next season. And he is a value. But I don't know that Hart sign as the starting five the condition the team is in and has been, looking at you, Chet, that Chet and iHeart are the most viable strength or strength, at least against a team like the Spurs right now. And so that's why I'm open mind. I'm not just saying bring everyone back, run it back, don't change a thing, no adjustments. But as long as you can control a guy like that and turn his contract into a better fit, if that's what they need, then hang on to it, hang on to the ability. And the best thing you can do when you're cap strapped is not duck $1 under the apron so that you still can't make moves. It is pay guys so that you can trade for other guys that make money too, and you don't have to aggregate to get there. So yeah, that's my thought. What do you think, Ryan? What do you see it going?
This is the thing I think I've thought about the most since the season ended is I so badly want to know what Presti's true feelings are about, like, what his plan was when they signed Hartenstein, and, like, part of me thinks he had a projection that they would never want to extend Hartenstein. that it was like, here's the 2-year deal because it's a necessity, but in 2 years, it will be clear that Chet is going to be ready to be like the full-time 5, and we're probably going to draft someone to cheaply replace the Hartenstein, like, skill set. And they did that. They at least tried in Sorber, and it's obviously a TBD, but I don't think that from the summer of '24 to the summer of '26 that things could have gone any better if you're Hardenstein and his representation for having the most possible leverage this summer. I don't think anything could have happened differently that would have given him more leverage right now. And I don't think Presti foresaw this. I don't think it was like out of the question or like not a possibility. I just don't think he thought this was the highest percentage outcome, was that we would be sitting here thinking he's never been more indispensable. And whereas into this season, like last fall, thinking like, let's enjoy all of these iHeart games because this is the last season with him because of X, Y, and Z. And for the record, I thought there was no world where we got to this summer and felt that Dort was anything other than indispensable and like totally fabric to this team and will never go anywhere. And now I feel those two have completely flipped in that regard. So it's just an interesting time. And like Cray, you're saying, I think it's very possible that they just pick up the options at minimum and play it out. But and like I was talking to Wes yesterday, like I think the only chance, and I'd love to hear what you think about this, Cray. Like I don't think there's any chance that Hardenstein signs a long-term extension with the Thunder next summer. I think if you're going to get him on a long-term deal, it's right now. And first of all, like Cray, what do you think the number is that the team would want to get him at?
That they would want to get him at.
Yeah. Like what's the highest you think they
Oh, the
would pay?
highest? I mean, I think they want him about where he's at, and I think that was probably their hope when they got him in the first place.
You think they want him at like 28 a year?
Uh, yeah, I mean, if I'm putting myself in their shoes, I'm thinking uh, if 30 might hurt,
Yeah. I don't
but
I don't I don't know how you feel, Wes. I don't think 30 is an option. I think 25 is about as much
we're
as they're
talking leverage, like
Yeah.
you're saying. I will say there's one tiny little thing against the leverage would be J Will. You were all season the biggest believer in the J Will Chet minutes, and wouldn't you know it, in the last half of the Western Conference Finals, J Will and Chet were crushing it against Victor Wembanyama, at least in the plus minus, and having an okay offense. Now, I do wonder how much of that was iHeart uh, wearing out Wemby in the first half of the conference finals. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't. It really is kind of hard to imagine a long term number, a long term deal that's at a number that both sides think is worth it to them. Because if I'm him, I'm thinking 30. I'm starting there or north of there, I think. The one lack of leverage he has is just his health. You know, he's only 27. He's not an old man. He's plenty. He just, like you said, everyone saw how important he is and how indispensable he is. So health is really his only ding right now. Um, so I mean, I think he wants, if he's trying to make everything he can, I think he's trying to make everything he can, and that's going to be a high number if it's a long term deal.
Wes, the other thing we've talked a lot about is like Presti just doesn't ever let assets die. And how do you see him like going from we never let it die, we're going to be proactive and usually a year early, to him like how do you parse that with him saying we might just pick up all the options and take it into the summer?
Yeah, I felt really encouraged, and then once Cray said he's wants to be at a similar number as what he is now. Now I feel discouraged. Um, for like just in regards to the possibility of the Thunder keeping him. Um, at the same time, I mean, Presti. It seems like Presti would either extend him now or move him now. I just he we is there any I mean, I guess KD would be the example. Is there any other example we have of him, like, letting like, taking the possibility, or the risk of losing an asset for nothing?
Mhm.
Well,
So and
I
I
will
know he
I
said
will say
pick up I know he said pick up the options and play it out. I mean, I know that's where we started, but it seems like extending or moving, are the 2 highest possibilities. I don't know.
I think he would rather I think Presti would rather extend him now at a number a little higher than the team really wants to, just to ensure that, like, if it's 30 a year, I think Presti would feel like, if this is 4 years, 120, I still think Presti and most of the league would view that as very movable in a year. And I think even a contract extension like that might be his version of, like, keeping the asset alive, and I think you could see him do that with Dort as well.
Why do I have the feeling that Hartenstein's gonna, like, take a team-friendly deal? Is that wishful thinking? I have no reason to think that. I just feel that way.
I mean, there has been some reporting from, I think it was Tim McMahon, about that potential of, like, securing more years at a lower number than he's at right now.
Yeah, and let me clarify, when I say team friendly, I'm not talking like minimum or anything. I'm just saying like a number I would under 25, probably closer to 20 than 30. Is what I'm thinking when I say that.
Like 3 years 70, that's a little more than 23 a year. I think the Thunder probably I think that would be the first offer they make. I don't think he would take that.
no, I think he'd wanna be a free agent at the age of 28 and see what, a longer, heftier deal he can get instead
Yeah.
of waiting 2 extra years and being 2 years older and any lack of leverage he has now being more of a liability for his earning, but I don't think
Yeah.
it's necessarily I would say the Thunder, so it's not just wishful thinking, Wes. So the Thunder are a championship team. They have won a title. They do like the city. All of these things are very legitimate. He has put down who knows what kind of roots, but he has a connection to the city and is, a lot of his philanthropy and I would say even has been very well known about him that he is one of these like basketball purists that it's important to him to be on the right kind of team for the right kind
Yeah.
of coach with the right kind of teammates. So but on the other hand, I used to work for Hoops Rumors, and this time of year is just this happens with every single free agent. Every single free agent, we would say there's the urge to highlight these, and we were an aggregator. It's a great site. Highly recommend Hoops Rumors still to this day. Hoopsrumors.com, free plug. But at this season, every single free agent is the team would like to keep him, and he'd like to stay there. The team would like he loves the fans, he loves the city, he loves everyone loves each other, and 98% of the time it is they go where they can get the role and the salary that they think they're worth.
But don't you I mean, I think it was pretty well noted that, like, the Knicks couldn't come close to the 2 years, 59,000,000 that the Thunder offered him. Um, I think the most the Knicks could offer at that time was, like, 18 a year or 19 a year, like, it wasn't even close. And I'm not saying that it's like, "We did you a solid, now it's your turn." Um, but I do think that, like, $30,000,000 a year for a big, and I could be dead wrong about this. What is the market for a big who, like, doesn't shoot? but, like, is so good at so many other things. Like, is it 30 a year? Is it more than that? Or is it, like, 25 or 27? Yeah, that's very true. There's just not a ton of teams there's not a ton of teams with space this summer.
I'm gonna look up a really evil one right now. So this is a thought experiment. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
While while you're looking that up, I'll just say, like, I'm trying to think of comparable players and contracts. I mean, Jarrett Allen signed a 3-year, 91 million, I believe,
Mhm,
extension last summer.
mhm.
Not far
So, I
off on
mean,
value, I
that's
don't
right
think.
around that number. I'm just trying to think of other like what the, going rate is.
I'm gonna throw a nightmare scenario at
Okay,
you. No
let me hear.
reporting, total. But
Bracing
this
myself.
is the kind of thing when we're talking leverage, and because it doesn't just take one, it takes one with the buying power. And the Thunder were in they had the ability that summer to do that, and that's how they could do it, right?
You gonna say San Antonio?
I was gonna say, so say San Antonio crashes and burns the rest of this series. De'Aaron Fox, everyone's favorite trade dump, get rid of, replace. Dylan Harper's ready, yada yada yada. I'm not saying obviously the Thunder are not going to trade iHart to De'Aaron Fox, but you know how these things go, tampering, whatever you want to call it. The Spurs could line up that number, right? For the summer waiting. They could get off of Jarrett. They could do whatever it takes. They have plenty of assets themselves. They can move off and they could say, we open up whatever room that it would take, at least so we can move some things around in the summer that is forthcoming so that we, not even necessarily because we need Hartenstein so much as we need him off of the Thunder. And
It's literally like my next chapter 2.0.
yeah, and I
Just a dagger to our
this is a
hearts.
total speculation, right? But I'm just like those
Sure.
kind of scenarios where like teams do wait on players, like teams do through back channels and agents and all of this. They can carve out that room and have that kind of and teams get left at the altar too, doing that as well. But there are scenarios where if he is trying to leverage and doesn't want to extend and is on the option or whatever the case may be, that a team could, put in the work to open up that slot, the kind of team that he would like to go to, the kind of team that can pay what the Thunder weren't willing to pay, that's still competing for a championship, yada 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 yada.
Yeah, I think the Spurs are more in line for, like, a big 4, more than they are like, Kornet's on a pretty good deal. But, like, it's definitely like, the Jared Allen's I think that's a great
Fox's
comparison.
number is 50 million next year,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
that's
I
a
think
negative contract. They're gonna have to do it at some point,
for
right?
sure.
So, but that's a
That's a
huge
that's a
hole to
that's a
open up.
big that's a bad contract, uh, you know
I'm saying right now, whatever team takes him to allow the Spurs the flexibility to improve their roster, I hate that team. I despise you. Just
so, like, that it's just an interesting spot for this summer to decide on Hardenstein, and they have until the end of, I guess, the new league year, I guess, is that July 1st, something around July 1st to decide. Oh, you've got it up on the screen. Um, June 29th. They've got to decide on these team options. So, I mean, I know Presti said, like, we're, this it made some of these decisions might run deep into the summer. Well, two of these decisions have to be made in the next
yeah.
like 3 weeks. So, I would think they're going to have some serious talks about an extension or what the future will look like with him. Because I keep going back to I don't think Sam is going to just like have this year where three guys on the team. Let's take Kenrich out of it. Like two guys on the team, two starters are just going to play on a team option. Like that is the most unthunder like, unpresty like situation
Yeah, and
that I can think of.
Wes's point earlier, no, they don't let that happen. In a moment of brevity, Presti did say maybe the Harden decision wasn't the best, and of course,
Mhm.
that's everyone's that they think back to. But I think everyone thinks should have let it play. At least, let him let him go through that next season, and don't worry about the locker room, and see what leverage you can get, yada yada yada. I don't think that's what he would mean. If I think what he would mean is maybe we should have paid him and then traded him on a
Mhm.
positive contract, not run it down closer to the wire. I just don't think that is his nature. He has let some pieces walk, some, right? KD walk, but that was a whole deal. But but for the most part, no, I think he absolutely doesn't want to walk in, head into a season with lame duck contracts like that. And I think my guess is his pitch to iHeart is going to be, hang around for a few more years. We need you. We'll pay you what we can, and you'll still have a payday in an upcoming summer for the next big deal, whether that's here or somewhere else. And my guess is to Lou Dort that he's having the Josh Giddey conversation. I'm not comparing them. Maybe I'm comparing them a little bit as players, but we want you here, and we'll pay you, and you've got a role, and you're important to this team. And are you okay coming off the bench? Or are you okay? I think there's going to be some leverage the other direction in terms of what he is trying to get out of that contract situation. But I do think for both, they're positive assets, and I would hope that they get either extended or translated into other long-term assets that help the team.
If
Cray,
you were or I'm sorry to jump in here. If you're thinking about the Dort conversation, let me ask it like this. Are you talking or having the Dort conversation or the Queso conversation first? Like, is that a domino situation or, um, not?
I would say I'm having the conversation with the young man who's started the second half of Game 7 and closed Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals. Cason Wallace is the priority. It's not as urgent, as urgent, but if we need a 3-and-D top tier guard defender in the starting lineup for this team to be successful, whatever. As I love Dort, the biggest Dort fans in the world got to know he's getting older, and he is just not the reliable shooter consistently that you can count on from postseason to postseason. And Cason Wallace looks like he is, if not more, on offense. I don't have huge hopes for his offensive playmaking taking off or things like that, but to me, the very related conversations, obviously. But I think Queso is the priority, in my opinion. What do you think, Ryan?
yeah, I agree. What I was gonna ask Wes is, do you think Hartenstein or Kason's extension is like more top of mind?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you had to pick one of those, it's definitely the gotta be the Cason extension. I mean, and talk about a guy who, if you let and I don't think this will happen, but if you let get to the open market, um, the the number that could be commanded,
Oh yeah,
I think it's
they'd get priced out quickly, I think.
right. So I mean, I think I don't know how the negotiations work, obviously, but I think you go in and basically, "What number do you want? Okay, it's yours. Let's move on." But then my question becomes like, I mean, Dort fan, we all love Dort. He's a Thunder guy, all of those things, but it's just like, I think once that happens, the number that makes sense to bring Dort back at just, like, plummets, and then if Dort, can make significantly more, perhaps twice as much elsewhere, at least the number I think it's reasonable to bring Dort back on. If he can make close to twice as much elsewhere, um obviously that's a decision he has to make. But as Cray said earlier, I mean, role and money, it would almost be silly for him to not do that. But yeah, I think Queso's got to be the number one priority. Which I know I'm the one earlier who brought up iHeart as being uh, as as being the most important. But
I might have been leading the witness a little
eh,
bit on that
either
one.
way.
Everyone Sam Presti's talking to is his most important conversation at the time.
Yeah.
This is the most important guy right here sitting in front of me.
The Cason thing is interesting. I'm not trying to play devil's advocate on Cason by any means. I agree. He's like so important and they're gonna do I think working to extend him is hugely important this summer. And I think they will. But I mean, he had some really rough stretches in the regular season shooting the ball at the same time that Dort did. I want to say like around the new year. And it's just I've just had such big like whiplash swings in how I feel going forward with a few of these guys. And Kason's like obviously on the up and up, Hartenstein as well, and Dort the other direction. I don't know. It's just been an interesting year in that regard with these decisions coming up. How much things have changed perception wise? Because there was a time where it was like, "What's Cason? What's he doing?" And like, why can't the shot ever go in? And then there was a stretch where he was the guy on the ball, and he was like putting up career high numbers and winning games, and then he has the series of his career against the Spurs, a team that we're all sitting here thinking that's going to be the team you have to beat year after year to go to the finals. So, super important player at a super important position, and I just think it makes Dort obsolete, in the sense that like we can't pay that much money for perimeter defense. Speaking of Caruso, speaking of Kaysen, speaking of Dub, like you get to a point where you have enough, and we don't have infinite money to spend for this for this archetype and
Well,
Dort.
and Ryan, we talked about this before, but like, is Dort even I hate I don't know how to say it exactly, but I was gonna say, is he even valuable, like, in a reserve role? Like, bringing him off the bench to shut down, like, the
Right,
7th or 8th man.
right.
Like, is that even and again, I think that just from a value perspective is like, what is it worth? Aside from, of course, we're just bringing him back for vibes and because we love him. Like, does it make sense to have a player like that in a reserve role, especially when you have Caruso and the other guys you have coming off the bench that you would all be in front of him?
Right.
I don't know if I see that role.
And because of that, why like the money because of that, I think the number just shrinks
Right.
significantly. And
Exactly.
why would I like for Lou's sake, why would he ever agree to that kind of number and that kind of role when this may be the last chance he has at like a huge payday? And I think there are a lot of teams who would line up to start Lou Dort next to their primary guy, like just like the Thunder did. And he would. I just think he stands to make. I think he could get mid-20s per year this summer, and
Easy, easy.
so given that, like, there's just the Thunder can't give him that and extend Kaysen and
What's he
extend
at right now?
Hartenstein. Yeah,
17-ish?
it's about 18 a year. I think next season, the options for, like, maybe just under 18. I wanna say it's 17.8 or 17.7.
So even if his extension let's just we just said 2020 or 25 easy. Even just for the Thunder to keep him at the number he's at, I just don't think makes sense for them given the other things.
He's at 18-2. Uh, Frankly, like you said, Ryan, Dort and Caruso and Queso, there's redundancy there. And same question applies to Queso. Like, his value is neutralized when he's not on ball against the other team's very best playmakers to
100%.
give them problems and wear them down all game long, picking them up full court. But there's definitely value there for him. I mean, if anyone's watching the playoffs, I think NBA front offices are the last few years, it's a tough league right now. And there are tough scorers, tough defenders. It is a boxing match night to night, and there is a role for Lou Dort on plenty of teams that need to up their perimeter bite.
And I do wanna say this about the Cason contract. I wonder if they try and get some language in it for, like, finishing, first team all defense, second team all defense. I'm not exaggerating. I think he's going to be a finalist for defensive player of the year next year if they extend him and, like, start him. Like, if they just move him into the Dort role,
Yeah, he's averaging 4 steals a game or
I
whatever. He's getting
genuinely
starter
think he's
minutes.
going to be a finalist, in that elevated role. I've never seen a guard with better hands, and it obviously it reflects itself in the steal numbers, but even more than that, like, I can't say enough about the defender he is. So, that number is very important. But, like, Cray, back to Dort, like, how do you parse everything we just said about Dort with you wanting him to come back?
I think I think so the question about iHeart and his hometown commitment, I think that is, even though he became a clutch client, which freaked everyone out this year.
Talking about Dort?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think and this is not necessarily he's here forever, but Sam Presti has done a good job of kind of respecting the wishes of
Mhm.
players that are important to the franchise. And I just feel like they're going to work out something, between his role and his number, and frankly, maybe his long term destination. It seems like, it's very obvious. His goal would be to make the most money as an Oklahoma City Thunder until he retires. But if that's not in the cards, in a way that the team can justify, I just feel like they'll be honest, and they'll work out something where he's either comfortable with being a trade asset who's already got the bag secured, for whenever that time comes. Not saying that would even be next year, or I just feel like there's some kind of, and sorry to be ambiguous, but I do feel like there's some kind of mutual agreement on how this plays out, for him to be good to the team and the team to be good to him. So, but I would say of all the players, the vibes, it would be the roughest, for Dort to go away. But I'd say for the roster, it would be the least painless just because of just those redundancies, just the other guys they've got, and other guys they've got coming up. The Thunder have a program. They're turning AJ Mitchell into a freaking hound on, defense, who's,
Yep.
deflecting and playmaking nonstop, and they're gonna get more of them. That, like, the program is the program. They've got picks. They've got a good scouting and development department.
Shout out Bob Stoops.
There's gonna
The
be
program is the program.
it's the Oklahoma that's what people always talk about, the Thunder U, the old college vibes, like, I feel like this is like an Olympic level, like, everyone's gotta earn their minutes. Everyone's got Jared McCain, he's not a plus defender by any means, but, like,
An improved defender.
you have to work. You have to develop to the nth of your abilities on defense for you to play every minute that you want, and that goes up to Shea. So
Yeah.
I just think there's not gonna be the window for Dort being a on court priority, not to mention locker room and vibes and all that, but in terms of what they need on the court, I just think those days are numbered, if not kinda almost over already.
And Wes, it does need to be said, like, if we're talking about extending guys to then trade them later, the amount like, the bill that you're gonna run up puts you in a spot where trading is gonna be much more difficult in the
Right.
second apron, to move guys. Not that it's impossible, but it gets a lot more challenging. And I just I don't think Presti's going to like ink these guys to long-term deals and paint himself into a corner where he can't do anything. Um,
Right.
that also doesn't feel like something he wants to do. So I I do appreciate Lou coming into the exit interview and saying, like, "I'll do whatever it takes to be here," genuinely a great dude and a great Thunder player and, like, all-time Thunder player. I just don't see it. I don't see how they can bring him back, even on the option. The option feels like the least possible thing to me. I think they would rather find a team that either has space that they just trade Dort into their space, or they find someone like I mean, I think there's so many options for Dort. I think there's so many teams that would benefit from him. Like, it just takes a couple to come drive up a really nice bargain for Oklahoma City.
You know my favorite, the
Who do you like?
Los Angeles Lakers.
That's the worst.
No, well, hear me out. Hear me out.
That's the worst.
So for my mental health vibes, everyone knows the obnoxious uh bitching and moaning about the Thunder playing physical defense that has been
Mhm.
encouraged and incentivized by the league for 3 years, and everyone claims that's why the NBA sucked for the last decade because you can't guard anymore and you can't get tough, and the Thunder do it anyway. We know if Dort wasn't on the team, that just the pitch would go down a little bit on that, and it would just be so hilarious to me for the Lakers to have to like recalibrate having him on their team, because that's the other
Now
thing.
it's all fine. Now he's great.
Well, I mean, that's when they played the Lakers, I feel like is when, I mean, it was working up to this the whole season and the whole postseason, but it was the Lakers. uh, that is when, the whole storm of Thunder are too mean and they're hurting our players and they're hurting our feelings, and we don't call enough fouls on them even though we get 10 more than them for the series. Like, I would just it would just be good for my just like my mental health. I wouldn't like rooting for Lou Dort as a Los Angeles Laker, but it would just be a fun exercise, a fun, like, easy to blow off, easy. It would just make Twitter easy. I guess that's actually what I'm saying. It would
Yeah.
make Twitter easier for me.
I hear what you're saying. I cannot fathom. Well, if Presti is involved, if let's say hypothetically it's a sign and trade situation where the Thunder are trying to let Dort get an extension somewhere, and that way they can get something back for the asset. 0.00% chance Presti would do that to the
Well,
Lakers.
now it's happening, man. Now that you said that.
And and even more so, I mean, seeing Dort guard Shea 4 times a year and potentially in the playoffs would be
He will never allow that.
I mean, I feel like Toronto is a great place. Send him home, he loves it. We'll see him twice a year,
No,
dap
no,
him
no.
up.
That'd be good for Dort, but that would, if you want to have irrational fear about Shea, trade his best friend
Sure,
to Toronto when he just
yeah.
said that Oklahoma
Well,
City is his favorite place in the country.
He didn't
it
say in the
was an
continent.
interesting phrasing.
He didn't
Very
say in the
interesting.
continent. I do think Presti would do everything he could to get him to the Eastern Conference for a lot of the reasons Wes just mentioned. Like, there are multiple Western Conference teams that would love to start Lou, and I don't think the Thunder are interested in Dort guarding
Just
Shea or anyone on the team for in a playoff series.
as a little bit of a sidebar, but I feel like it is part of the conversation. I found it really interesting when Presti said, and maybe this takes us into more of what he said, but the specific comment about like, you didn't hear us complaining, we just want to know what the rules are, which kind of takes back to the way that the Thunder were officiated, and even Dort, like, tripping Jokic and what a big deal that was. I just thought that comment was interesting, infused with all of our conversation about Dort.
I I want to say I'm over it, but I'm not.
I'm not
I'm I'm trying to get over it. I do not think that there was a, series deciding injustice from the whistle in the Western Conference Finals. I am, me and Ryan have been back and forth all year trying to not be so annoyed by the discourse. and you try to turn it off, and then it keeps running away in the wrong direction. And it's not just people replying to us with their idiotic clips, but it's Nick Wright or Zach Lowe. I'm sorry, it's like
Yeah.
it won't go away, and it's like, ugh. Anyway,
The
uh,
Thunder are the NBA villains now, and they're embracing that role.
maybe, maybe.
I'm I'm not saying that. I'm saying that
Oh yeah,
there is a very popular podcaster, and
oh, yeah.
that's his take.
But
It's like, I think they just play hard. I don't know.
as easy as the masses are to whip up with, as easy as the social media masses are to whip up, there's still this thing there. I mean, people are turning on the Spurs right now. Like you can't actually control. It really comes down to we want to hate people that are failing or killing us. Like if we think you're the best and you're losing, Victor Wembanyama, or if we think that you're killing us and we can't figure it out, like we hate you. And that is going to be the thing. And I feel like I know the Wembanyama now. Wembanyama dirty player, yes or no? That's the first take
Mhm.
topic. It just came down tonight that he will not be assessed a flagrant for his obvious flagrant
Which is insane, right?
against a
Against Brunson?
one of the biggest stars in the league. Um, but the more they're handling with the kid gloves. It's the whistle during the games. I do not. I've said, like, I think 99%, 98%. There's bad calls, obviously, but there's so many calls. There's so many calls, so many different variations of refs and play styles and what they see and what they don't, and calls are missed. There's makeup calls. Like, I don't think series typically or even games really swing on the whistle that much, but it's the extra penalties and the fines and those kind of things where, I mean, they gave man, I'm not over it. They gave there's the Wimmy, elbow to the throat, elbow to the head, pulling smaller guards just to shove them out of the way, headlocks, crashing into leg, like all this stuff. But there's in the fourth quarter, they tried to give the Spurs it could have been an 8-point possession when Justin Champagnie,
Mhm.
excuse me, Julian, um, it was foul. It was a foul. It was a landing space foul, but that would not have been a flagrant. It would not have been a flagrant on Wimby. It wouldn't have been. And they did
Think
review.
about the flagrant foul, like, in hindsight, the flagrant foul that AJ Mitchell got
Yes. Yeah.
in the series. It was at game 1? I
Yeah.
Yeah.
guess
So they miss
maybe
a
no, I think
Oh, yeah, yeah,
it
game
was
2.
game 3 because that's the game he got hurt in. That was the play he got hurt on, was the play he got a flagrant.
yeah. So they miss a flagrant on Wemby against Jalen Brunson in front of everyone. Everyone saw. They miss a landing space much closer to a flagrant on him on Josh Hart, an important stretch of the game. They give Champagnie his 3 points and 2 free throws and possession of the ball. They also, this is one that no one is bringing up, or I haven't seen it. The Spurs, there's an out of bounds play, and the Spurs are trying to delay the game with a
Mhm.
substitution so that they can maybe call a timeout, maybe challenge. They don't, because they delayed the game long enough for them to check on their iPad and see that there wasn't anything worth challenging. And they inbound the play, and Dylan Harper walks onto the court as the sixth player, and the refs don't give him a technical. They whistle and say, "Oh, sorry, Dylan Harper, you actually can't play right now. Go back to the bench, and we'll reset the possession." That's a technical foul. There's like it's that stuff. It's the stuff that is like 100% judgment, 100%. Do we enforce a
Well, the thing
penalty to disincentivize this behavior? And every single time they have said, no, we will not disincentivize this behavior for the darling of the league. And that is also part of why people are going to turn on them, because people don't like that either. Even if they like this person, like Wembanyama, the more they see them getting away with special treatment, the more they will turn just as hard in the other direction.
Well, I can't even remember who he was challenging. I wanna say it was Wemby, but where Mitchell Robinson got pushed into the shooter, and it was Um, and they called it a foul on Mitchell Robinson. And it's like, if you're watching Mitchell Robinson fall into the shooter, how do you not see that he was pushed? It's like the same spot. And I think the Knicks ended up challenging it, and it was overturned. But it does feel like, and I'm not trying to turn this into like a Spurs B&M session, but it does feel like they're just getting the benefit, as if you want to call it the darling of the league, whatever, um, every single time, which is annoying whenever it's like at best they're doing the same things that everybody is all up in arms about the Thunder doing on social media.
I'm so impressed by Ryan's self-control right now. He's just
I
like
don't even know how
calm
we
and
got here.
collected, and
I'm sitting here thinking, how did we get to this part of the
I brought up
conversation?
Presti's comments about you don't hear the Thunder
Presti,
complaining
Oh,
about
yeah.
every.
It's a Presti topic, to be fair. It's a
Yeah,
Presti topic.
that thank you for reminding me. Um, I did think he had some interesting comments about Shea and the discourse and the free throws, and, some I thought were strong and others I thought were, like, kind of lame. But what were your thoughts, Cray, on his specific answer about the Shea situation?
So it's his turn to work the refs, is my thought. The Thunder have been um, designing their team and coaching their team, not as some people think, to make dirty plays in practice, but to push the boundaries of how much they can slow their opponents without being called for a foul for multiple seasons now. And this season, players, coaches, fans, everyone again is crying. I'm not just trying to like make fun of them, but like they're saying as loud as they can, this is too physical. This is not enjoyable. This is not the kind of game we want to play. The coach, JJ Redick, Chris Finch is one thing, but JJ Redick, Mike Brown, like, and it's now it's about the Spurs too. It's not just about the Thunder, but there was a time when everyone was demanding for less rules and more physical play on the perimeter. And I do think there is a fever pitch now of there, like, we got to make an adjustment. The league needs to soften up that whistle, change a little bit of the way they're calling the game. We want more freedom of movement on the perimeter. I don't think that would hurt Shea at all. I think it would help Shea, frankly. But I do think on the whole, it was one, obviously standing up for Shea, which he deserves. He's two-time MVP and deserves a lot more respect from the league that he is setting such a high standard for. But two, I do think he was, it's his turn to work those refs, work the competition committee, work whoever is saying these things and feeling the pressure of social media, including Adam Silver. I think he's putting his 2 cents in on we're doing things the right way. Our players are playing the right way. We're following the rules. We will continue to follow the rules, and don't just like yank something away from the way we built our team overnight because uh, people don't like losing to us in this fashion.
That's an interesting view of it. I hadn't really thought about I hadn't really thought about that part of it, that, like, Presti's like, I mean, he literally called it the bully pulpit, uh, coaches turning the post-game presser into the bully pulpit for competitive advantage, end quote. And I I thought that was funny because I'm sure this is stuff he probably felt all year long through in those moments when Finch or whoever is or I we can't let JB Bickerstaff off the hook either. We can't let him go uncalled. So yeah, those types and the way that they would talk about the physicality. And I think the common refrain is they're allowed a certain amount of contact that we aren't. I think the general pushback would be like, you guys do not have, like, you're guarding with Luke Kennard. He has no shot and has not built up any kind of rapport as a physical defender, and is really, really bad at defending and showing like legal contact. So I think there are two sides to it, but um, I hated the line of like Shea's guarded by five guys and the sixth is social media. Um, I think he thought that was like sick, and I'm sure he wrote it down thinking like this is gonna kill, and I thought it was really lame. Didn't I don't think Shea needs that. I think I think one takeaway you can have is that like, wow, Shea must have really been listening or bothered by the noise. And I don't necessarily think that's something I would want the GM to project or to confirm in a postseason presser after that kind of series. But I love the receipts about the amount of fouls he drew, the amount that were challenged, the amount that were overturned. I thought that was really strong, and I really liked that part of the answer.
I love the receipts as well. That's been so we go into serious argument mode, which no one wants to do on Twitter. It's silly to even try, but the challenge rate is my favorite because if you believe they are getting away with the most, they can't also have the most successful challenge rate on their own fouls called and fouls drawn, which they do. Unless you think they are also the greatest coaching staff and players strategically of all time, which doesn't start and end with the whistle. You know, like there's no way around those kind of numbers. Shit, we've been around Shea's free throw numbers. They don't. They're not outlier numbers for a player of his volume and play style. But on the Shea thing, it didn't do a lot for me. I wonder. I do wonder. I do worry maybe that it does bother him more than he lets on. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows what Presti's
I'm
talked to
fine
Shea
if it
about?
does. I'm fine if it does bother him. I just don't know why Presti would tell everyone that.
Well, so yeah, well, I mean, who know? Like, who knows?
Maybe it doesn't.
Maybe Presti doesn't even really know. He can't really
He
get a good read on him.
he did start by saying that's the one thing that he and Shea have never talked about. So I'm not saying he's
Yeah,
speaking on
that's true.
any direct knowledge, but
It's
I thought some quotes were really strong, and I thought some like didn't really help the cause.
it was very political, and like you said, I don't know if it helped the cause. He could be thinking, you know, Shea says it's fine. He ignores it. He's above the noise, yada, yada, yada. But he's our MVP. I'm the
Mhm.
GM. And it's a bad look for me not to stand up and shake my fist and do the bully puppet. So a year, 2 years from now, he's not at that point saying, actually, it drove me crazy and I didn't even have representation and I didn't want to deal with it. And my family was upset. And, you know, like, so I, d- I feel like I
I'm
know where his
all
motivation's coming from, but I have no idea if it was the right tone or approach or way he
Yeah,
went
I'm
about it.
I'm all in favor of him like speaking on it. I just thought some things he said weren't really like helping. They're more cringy than anything. But to his defense, like the noise was really loud this year for most of the year. Like as MVP conversations heated up, it seemed like it was a full on campaign against Shea and minimizing his impact aside from drawing fouls and the flopping stuff. Like I thought it was really loud, and so yeah, I don't blame him for wanting to take some time, and he was answering questions. He didn't just like read a prepared statement out of nowhere. He was answering a question, but I thought it was very interesting. And because like Wes and I have talked about this so many times this year, like there's just so many like quote unquote national guys, national media guys who like cover teams that are rivals of the Thunder that have they like seep into national media and yet they are, they cover a team and they like cheer for a team and they make no bones about it. But
They're loud, is what you're saying.
they're loud and they're like in like really they're in spaces that you would think are for like objective guys, like reporters only, like I really don't want to name names because it's like, who cares? But like, it was just a lot of that. It was a lot of negative Shea stuff, and there wasn't really anyone like combating that on that same level. So then it was just like Thunder fans and like Thunder sites like ours that are like combating it, and there's only so much we can do before it just becomes like, well, there, what else would you say? You're a homer. And yet a lot of the stuff on Shea was coming from people that would be considered homers in any other situation, except they're on like national shows. So it was just like a very interesting, like very toxic environment at times this year for Shea. So I don't blame Sam for addressing it and answering a question about it. And again, I liked a lot of the things that he said.
Yeah, I thought I mean, to go back to what I thought the 6 defenders, I don't know, that sounded like I don't know if it sounded better in his head than it did when he said it. But I
I think
mean,
that's called feeding the trolls, honestly. I think he fed the trolls with that.
yeah, yeah, he admitted he's not on social media. Oh, um, I thought that I might get the numbers wrong here, but 415 fouls called, uh I guess for Shea. How do you say that? Not on Shea, but in Shea's favor. 11 of them, I think, were challenged. 4 of them were successful. If I got those numbers slightly wrong, I apologize. Um, but I mean, I feel like that speaks for itself. Less than 1%. So, like, I don't know, in the nicest way possible, I felt like that was him saying, like, "So shut up." And then, I mean, because that's the main refrain I saw specifically during the Western Conference Finals was not necessarily the Thunder's physicality, but Shea specifically, but Thunder, in general, like, quote, unquote, "flopping." Um, and it's just like, "Okay." Uh, I thought that those numbers and, bring in the receipts, I mean, I stood up, I clapped. Like, I just like that I feel like that almost speaks for itself. Um, and I thought that, Gray, what you said about, like, it was, kind of Presti's I mean, the Thunder have built an organization, like, they're just not gonna sit up there and complain, or, like, that's just not who they are, which I love, and I don't know how anyone could disagree with or dislike. Like, I hate when coaches do that. Um, so, I mean, I that's the first time you're gonna hear anyone from the Thunder organization say anything about it. And back to what Ryan said, it was a direct question. It's not like it was part of his initial statements or something. So maybe the 6 defenders didn't land, but, I mean, we stand for Presti, he can do no wrong. So, he said what he said.
I do wish if I had my druthers, this is where I wanna get to and where I hope they get to, like, Shea runs the league. Shea is dominating the league. He's dominating. He the most common play type in the NBA for, like, 4 season runnings is Shea relentlessly driving the basketball, doing things that tough physical players, but just because he's herky-jerky and shoots off balance all the time and doesn't dunk on people's heads, but, like, I I want him to draw more fouls. I don't want him to draw less fouls, so we have this, like, defensive impulse because we're baited into it, I feel like this way, at least about myself, and I think about most Thunder fan, it's like we're almost apologizing and saying, "Well, he's not getting that many fouls," when to be like, "It's awesome that he gets fouls. It's awesome that he gets free throws, and he should get even more if he can." Not by flopping, not by grifting, but by forcing the issue, getting guys off balance, and making it to where they can't stop his jumper or stop his layup or stop whatever, without fouling him when he has a right to shoot the ball or go to the cup. That is what I would hope that we get to on the other side is less of the defending and showing the numbers that debunk that he's got a special whistle and all this stuff that I'm very, very, very guilty of, and being more like, deal with it, stop him straight up.
And I think Mitch Johnson had I can't remember which game it was after, but he was asked a pretty, like, leading question, very Brendan Dassey, uh, style
Great pull.
question
Brennan didn't do it, just for the record.
style question about the Shea foul drawing, and he just was like, "I saw a lot of mistakes that our guys made," like, a lot of off balance, a lot of leaving your feet when you shouldn't, and out of control, like not in control of your own body, that led to a lot of those fouls. And I thought, like, what a whether that was a psychological play in the other direction, like, I'm not saying it wasn't, but, like, I thought it was a very rational thing to say when a couple of those, I think you would probably say Shea was like, that was his intent. But there were a lot of other calls, like against Castle, against Carter Bryant, against Champagny, that he just had guys off balance and jumping at fakes and stuff. And it was encouraging, I thought, to hear a coach in that setting just not take the easy route in just piling on and acknowledging that, like, our guys made some really bad choices that led to them committing fouls.
We're
But
never
shout out
gonna get
to
away. We're
Boston
never gonna
also for
escape
that
it.
game.
We're never gonna escape it.
I wonder if it does. I wonder if it does turn with San Antonio becoming like, it's like there's been so much, like, we from Knicks folks, like, we didn't believe the Thunder when they said that the Spurs were like this, and we were wrong. We should have believed them when they said that. And, like, how just blatant some of this Wemby stuff is. Like, I don't think it's a I mean, I think the Woody meme of him, like, with his arm out saying, "Let him cook," like, I think Thunder fans should just, like, sit back and not say anything and just let it play out. Let people see, let Wemby do what he's doing, and let him, make his own bed. 'Cause I do think, as big as Shea is and as successful as Shea has been, I think Wemby doesn't have to reach, back-to-back MVPs to become a bigger star and more talked about. And that's I don't think that's a bad thing for the Shea discourse, is that the attention just moves really strongly to Wemby. And we could be talking about Wemby dominating the discourse with 0 rings. That's not a bad thing for Shea. Like, in the sense of, like, that is ripe for people turning on him quickly. That would raise the stakes significantly.
Yeah, and it's good for our psyche to see it happen to someone else, you know, because it is
And like
irrational and
and
is
like
annoying,
Sam
but
said, it's like it's going to happen to players after Shea. And, like, this isn't the first time, and it'll happen to someone else, and it is what it is. And Shea can do his part by limiting the grifts, and I think they do exist. I don't think they exist to the level that a lot of people want to see, but I do think they exist, and he could also help his cause by limiting some of that.
I think it is uh, a poignant quote is from Steve Kerr, where he said on a game they played this year, like, I don't have a problem with Shea, I have a problem with the rules. And that is my like feeling of the whole thing. Like, you can be mad at Shea if you want. He didn't make the rules. And so if your anger, if you will, or your critique is misplaced, like, so we have the receipts. He's not getting like a more beneficial whistle than anybody else. Presti mentions the challenge rate, all of that. So it's just like, I think a lot of it comes down to, like, those on social media are loudest, and which Presti touched on all of this. Like, that's th- the way the discourse goes, and people are talking about that for clicks, and just, so on and so forth. The machine just goes on and on. So um, this year, I was like, it's funny now, but just like beside myself about it. But in the Western Conference Finals, I feel like the social media aspect of it just got so out of hand that it like wasn't even reasonable anymore. And so then, like, I guess I have kind of adapted that, like, who cares, um, mindset about it all. And they build them up to tear them down. So now, Wimby was the golden child, and now as we've mentioned. Now, all of his clips are going around on social media, be it about flopping or hard fouls or whatever it is.
As a Thunder fan, the main thing that bothers me is that it underrates Shea's total game. You know, the idea that he's getting like 15 legitimate points a game, and everything else is grifted or something. You know, it's just such a it's that's a lie, and that's like you don't understand the sport, you don't understand what's happening, you don't understand
Right.
greatness, and it just bugs me as a homer for Shea and the Thunder, and just the as a little independent blog that can't really make much of a dent in the discourse, it drives me nuts that earlier in the season, I will name him. I've added him. He won't reply to me. Tony Jones on a radio
Shout out.
show.
Shout out.
I love Tony. He's hilarious. He's borderline homer. He's covered different teams. He doesn't. He's a jokester. He's funny. He's great. He's all about it. He's a ball knower. But he said on a radio show that because he is connected to the Jazz, he said that the Thunder media all got our talking points from the Oklahoma City Thunder organization and turned everyone's attention to the Jazz's tanking tactics. And he never stood behind it. He never wrote a word about it. He never clarified. People talked to him. It got on every single sports show. It was not corroborated. He didn't ask a Oklahoma City media member, did the Thunder do this? It was just I'm sorry, it was just bull crap. It was just a thing he said on a radio show, and it got picked up, and because everyone wanted to believe it, it took over the social media black hole
I kind of forgot about that. That was
that
a wild few days.
that
Yeah.
that sites like us were accused of controlling. Could anyone watch the way Twitter is played out and think that the Oklahoma City Thunder homer media has an iota of control over what people see or think or believe? But it, like, to me, it's just like the use your brains, guys. Like you're saying, right? Like, I'm totally good with someone being a homer. That's what we are. But use your brains. Have a little bit of rational thought, and maybe check with your peers, and like do a little bit. That was on Zach
See
Lowe.
something, say something.
Like, yeah, like
I would like the two of you to acknowledge that the voice of reason came down this week in the form of Draymond Green, my guy, defending Shea. I just would, and he did it again
and in
last night on
the way that I've
he
said, where
did
he's saying, no, it's a positive thing.
he did it again last night on Inside the NBA.
Yeah, he's not saying he's not as bad as everyone
Even a
says. It's
broken
not
clock
other
is
people
right
are
twice
worse.
a day.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you can say a
The
lot to me about Draymond
unlikely.
Green,
Just
but
kidding.
the dude is a basketball genius. I think
Right.
everyone like he
I agree.
knows the sport. That might be all some Thunder fans can say positive about him,
The
but
one true ball the
Well,
one
I
true
think
ball knower.
I mean, someone could probably find a clip of a former player saying the opposite, but I think all the players have. I haven't heard any player say like Shea's flopping. I feel like they're all. Am I wrong?
there's
You
one.
must not subscribe to
There's
Jaylen
one.
Brown's Twitch stream.
Not just hey, Jaylen Brown. This has been a long thing. This goes
And
back to the starting
I'm more
five.
mean. I'm more mean. Former players
No,
who
no,
are media members.
no.
Is what I'm thinking about. But
They're
yeah,
they're calling bull. They're calling bull on most of it. There's been lots and lots of that of them saying, because it's just the brain dead, like caveman, like Kobe didn't do this, MJ didn't do this, and they'll just say like, yeah, they did.
yeah,
I played with them. They're
yeah.
like, it was so hard not to foul them. Pull up their stats, and they just like with basic stats can just immediately debunk these idiotic things that frankly people are just picking up from social media. They assume that they saw this clip or this compilation or this random cherry pick stat, and it's going to be good fodder for their topic, and everyone's going to agree with them. And no, people that play the sport and they watch Shea play basketball are like, that's not what happened. What is happening?
I found Jeff Teague and Lou Williams specifically to be, like, really strong about their, like, just their I feel like they're really, uh feel like they just watch a lot of Shea and have a good understanding of what makes him really, really valuable.
And I can't think of any specific comment, but I felt like Jamal Crawford also,
Yeah.
like, kind of, I don't know, set the record straight. I not being the biggest fan of his, and the person who was announcing the game with him as an announcer.
Imano, Imano.
Well, that's the thing.
Yes.
Like,
I enjoyed when Jamal Crawford kind of
what's a
brought some levity to the situation.
Jay Crossover? He's watching Shea, one of the greatest handles of all time. Jamal Crawford wanted to get his points, wanted to get free throws, wanted to score. That's all he wanted to do. And he watches Shea and he is in awe of a legend playing basketball in front of him. And he's saying, this is great. This is not a grift. This is not a trick. This is not, shame on the refs. He just knows what he's seeing. He's experienced it. And I do appreciate that. The thing is, Charles Barkley, I think, is a defender now, O'Shea on these terms. And I tweeted once, I'm like, Charles admits that he doesn't watch the games. And I love Charles Barkley, but like the temptation to anyone who then backs or defends Shea, now we jump on their bandwagon. Like it's just such a the main thing is log off. But I can't tell. I run a blog. I can't tell people to log off and don't listen to us and talk about this and read and comment and stuff. Like, what am I doing? But I think that's the most, healthy way to deal with it. Ryan looks ready to log off.
Any other I have one other box to open from Sam's presser, and I talked to Wes at length about this yesterday, actually, but so I'll just pitch it to Cray. But like he did mention Topich by name and saying he thinks he'll have a big summer this year. What are your thoughts on like where are you at with Topich?
I love Tobich. I love McCain. I want the Nails nickname to stick with Jared McCain and for him to hit and for Nikola Topic to hit so that toenails can be a thing. And I will just keep running that into the ground until Topic flames out.
Social nicknames and potential merch opportunities aside, I'd love to hear your thoughts on Topich.
So it's just defense. I mean, speed of the game, read of the game. He is. I mean, he is giddy-ish, in terms of his uh getting it to players before they're ready for it and trying to push it through every tight window. And I don't, and I think he's a little more flashy, maybe to a fault than Giddy, but I just think it all comes down to defense. I think he'll adjust. He just understands the floor, has a handle. He'll develop his shot. Like I think all those things will come. I think for the Thunder, it's just going to be like, can he survive on defense in time to hang with the program? What do you think?
I'm kinda out, but if I set the over under on minutes per game next year at 16.5, where would you
I'm
go?
smashing the under. Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
I thought you were gonna say over. I
I mean,
would I
I
mean,
think he's earning it if it's over that. And man, I don't know. Year two, Topic is gonna earn that many minutes. I mean, Jared McCain, how many minutes did he play?
but don't you think it's like,
18. So
if he can't play like, if he's not playable for more than that on the year prior to his he's extension eligible next summer. Like, and again, we'll be here next summer talking about Sam not wanting to let an asset die.
I
Like,
mean, he's on the Usman, he's on the Jang train right now. Don't you think? Yeah, I mean,
I
if things
agree.
don't change,
Yeah. And I think for the record, I think he's gonna look awesome at Summer League because he looks awesome in the G League. And he has moments when, at the end of a Thunder game, when a G League game breaks out, he can go in and like look the part. So I don't expect him to go into Summer League and look bad. I just don't know how much of what he does well translates on a team that has this many ball handlers already. and is this competitive and plays at the rate that they play. But I think it's the other side. I think Wes would say is like they have to see.
Well, I'll say I love McCain too. You know very well, but I don't know that McCain has earned a long term role on the Thunder. I think they're like you said, it is
I
competitive.
think he has. I think he has.
I hope he has, but
I mean, he was essential in a conference final. I don't know what more he could have done.
Yeah, but there's still AJ Mitchell and there's, Isaiah Joe, I thought earned a role at one point. I just think it's a
But I think it's clear the difference in McCain and Joe at this point. I think it's quite obvious.
maybe he had some good moments, but man, his uh his numbers weren't like positive per se
I mean,
for the playoffs.
what would the over under be on? I think my bigger question would be is Isaiah Joe like on the roster at the start of the season? And maybe I'm alone in that. Uh,
I'm
when we talk about the
yeah,
contracts and
yeah.
extensions and all of that, like I don't know, I felt like McCain almost rendered him obsolete.
If Yeah, I mean if they're gonna duck salary, duck taxes and stuff, I mean, look no further than AaronWiggins and Isaiah Joe. They're not uh, impact players in the postseason. They are essentially innings eaters at this point, which is important to the team. It was important to the team this year, but and they're not prohibitive. They're very affordable for the Thunder, but uh, they're gonna be in their late 20s, and they're just not getting better, and they're just not gonna improve at the rate that they hope. A younger guy like McCain, younger guys like Topic and or Sorber and or number 12, number 17 this draft, like
Right.
they're just not. Yeah, I don't think they're long for OKC. Unless, like I said, unless the Thunder are just like run it back, keep everyone we got, all the reserves, don't see anything that looks like an obvious upgrade. If another McCain falls on our lap, then we do that. But
Bringing another thing is like bringing if we're just connecting dots, bringing everyone back and
well, they can't
Presti
actually.
right, but Presti saying he thinks this is a historically deep draft and we're just gonna run it back. They don't go together.
Yeah, they can't keep the picks and the players. They can't.
I
I
thought
mean,
it was interesting.
unless they stash all the picks, but I don't think that those are the players he's excited about.
I thought it was interesting. He talked about taking uh, the asset and figuring it out later, kind of thing. So I kind of wonder.
And it's worth noting they
That's
can
what we're
take
gonna.
21 players through the summer. Like, they can carry a bloated roster and truly figure it out later. I just don't I it's and they could do that, but I do think
Yeah,
at
but it's got to be.
whenever the time comes, it's like, I think Wiggins, Joe, and Dort are the guys that are, like, most likely to not be here.
Yeah, I mean they've got to have 15. They can only have 15 deals when the regular season starts, and they've got
Right.
13. I think that I don't see. Kenrich Williams, who I
I
also don't
think
want to
he'll
see
be
go. But
I think that's an easy, like, all signs point to declining the team option, but re-signing him on a minimum deal.
yeah, but I mean, that's another. Then you got one spot. I mean, yeah, there's just no room. Yeah, there's something does have to give. And I would see for those players, I mean, you're not going to upgrade from them at those numbers. They're not going to get more expensive players for that. He's not been prone to do it at the top of the draft, but maybe this is the year that they help him bump up a few spaces in the first round from where they're at. Some of those value contracts that are
Mhm.
not essential to the team in the playoffs.
Mhm. Dallas is such an interesting they're in an interesting spot themselves, but being at 9, and this is their last first round pick until, like, 2030 or 2031, I could see, there's I think it makes some sense to turn 9 into multiple bites at the apple in this draft. And, is like 12 and 17 for 9 seems almost too clean, but we'll see. I do think the possibility of moving up is certainly there this year if they want to. But again, 12 and 17, you can with AJ's deal, he's going to need an extension here. At some point that will be very pricey. I think as many like rookie scale deals as they can get on this team, the better. And I think this is the draft to do it because certainly this draft is way stronger than the next couple. So I think there's some sense in just taking two players in this draft and hoping you hit on at least one.
I think there's lots of soft targets above him. Atlanta isn't. I mean, for players that don't have the top 3 slots, a lot of teams that might be saying, "Let's get some of those." Could be better than expected uh, draft picks still in the Thunder stockpile, and or just extra first rounders that we can keep churning and trying to turn into more and more young players because we got a lot to build. The Nets are nowhere close to being a real team. My favorite is
Wes, let's do this. Wes, the Nets took 5 players in the first round last year. Can you name any of them?
No one comes to mind.
I can name like 1 or 2.
looked at this list like within the last
It's an
2 weeks and can't
insane
name one.
draft they had last year. It's crazy.
I just
I'm
read
gonna-
these players. I still don't know who they are.
Oh yeah. Now I do remember. There's one I feel like I should have gotten, but other than that, looking at them, I'm like, yeah, I don't even know these people.
Just to Cray's point that they aren't anywhere close. They used all 5 first rounders last year, and we can hardly name any of them. The Hawks is an interesting one. Cray, do you have any feel on the new value of these picks given, like future picks given the new lottery system?
I think is a very stupid change to the lottery, but I think it's one that is most likely very beneficial to the Thunder.
Yeah,
Like
I agree.
my favorite thing, this goes to the pay the guys too. Like the Thunder have always been the small market that are like, we need juicy draft picks. We can't get there through free agency. We've got to stand up for ourselves. Well, now they're on top and they've got all the free agents and they've got mediocre picks owed to them. And I think it will one, it could just, help them finally have something magical happen in a lottery pull. But 2, I think it juices their value too. People are
I feel like there are a dozen NBA GMs that have no idea if the picks are now less or more valuable, and Presti will play them however he needs to. He'll be like, those picks aren't worth much now. Let me take those off your hands. Or
my favorite's the Clippers. My favorite
Yeah.
everything is the Clippers,
yeah, this pick is very valuable. You should take this.
because we don't
Whatever he has to do.
something's gonna happen. Something's gonna give with the Clippers franchise. And, maybe it won't change much, but it could as a trade partner and or as someone who owes more to the Thunder, that could be very, very, very interesting in the near
Well,
future.
And this investigation needs to be wrapped up quickly, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, where are we with that, Adam? I know you've tackled so many other big things. Why don't we get some clarification on
Wasn't that a quote from him? That's what I was trying to allude to. I think he said it needs to wrap up soon. And I'm just like, well, who?
He said there are 2 different independent. He didn't say do scare quotes, but I will. 2 independent investigations happening right now, and one of them is putting people behind bars, and he's ready for his firm to do it right, but get it over with. But I can't say when. And no, he has no interest. Like he love to talk about anything else in the world. He'd rather talk about flopping. He'd rather talk about tanking. He'd rather talk about XYZ than the real competitive problems and issues, the competitive scandals. We won't dive into it again, but a head coach on a play-in team was arrested during the regular season for inside gambling influence. So Terry Rozier got off by the league, is now he has a restraining order. We can't contact the Miami Heat Like these are like there is stuff happening. And the Clippers is that
when the
next one.
FBI has to like come over the top of what your ruling was to discipline a player is tough times. Tough times. But hey, we figured out tanking. Hopefully
David Stern is rolling over in his grave.
it really is
Also, David Stern
tough
would
times
hate taking, and he
Yeah.
would handle it
Oh,
without
yeah.
deferring to complicated.
Well, he would
Obvious.
just like fine everyone millions
Yeah,
of dollars.
he would
take picks
strong
and give them to the Lakers.
he would strong arm teams that he didn't want to behave that way. That's what he would do. He wouldn't hide behind policy ideas and social
betting
media and
companies.
yeah, like he's there's no sense of ownership of the problems
Have
from the
some
commissioner
shame,
office.
Adam. Have an ounce of shame, Adam.
Adam Bronze.
One time.
He misses the old Clippers scandal. That was the fun one. That was the one where everyone was like, man,
Our hero.
our
that was the slam dunk.
Yeah, you solved racism even. Yeah.
The commissioner we deserve. That's
I
awesome.
do. I want to ask one more question to each of you. We'll start with Wes. What is as it stands now? We can circle back to this maybe after the draft. Who is the starting five on opening night, assuming health, of course? Who's the starting five for the Thunder next year? I'm sorry, literally the whole starting five.
Who wins? 5 iHarts or 5 Lou Dorts?
No, I thought you meant like the starting center.
Yeah, my bad.
My bad. Delete that from the tape. I think, assuming help, Shea, Queso, Dub, Chet, iHart.
I feel the same. How about you, Cray?
You just swapped Queso for Dort, right?
Right.
I think that's most likely. Some other options I would throw out there. We could say Shea, Queso, Dub, Giannis, Chet. We could say here's a real one. Shea. Let me put this together in my head. Shea, Queso, Dub, Chet, J. Will.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not as the full season 82 starting five, but we're gonna have to get some data points, like Mark Dano likes to say. Or I would say maybe AJ Mitchell. AJ Mitchell maybe in that slot.
I feel like putting AJ Mitchell in the place I put Queso might be the next most likely.
I agree. Except I have a hard time believing they're gonna pay Cason like mid-20s a
There
year
you go.
and then start the guy that's making $3 million when he asked for more of a role, or not asked for, just mentioned it.
Well, it's his favorite time of the season. He's watching the tapes of him.
He's got
dribbling the ball.
He's got that Pistons game on his home, on his home screen. Shout out to
I will say I'm glad
February.
I'm glad to confidently say J-Dub, as much as I hated, and we don't need to rehash the whole injury trail, especially in Game 6 and whatnot. But we did survive the playoffs without a truly devastating J-Dub injury, and we survived an actual devastating wrist injury the playoffs before. So he finally has some real recovery with no surgeries, no repairing need to be done. Obviously the hammer's not right at this moment, but he didn't kill himself. He played 10 minutes. He wasn't Aaron Gordon limping around for half a series. So he's knock on wood. I'm excited almost more than anything, more than any upgrade, more than any woulda, coulda, shoulda, trade, resign, anything. Healthy J-Dub, number one offseason acquisition for the 2026 Thunder.
Absolutely.
Cray, have you watched Yaxel?
No. I know. I just try to be agnostic by principle, just because I know that at least
Yeah,
for me, it is
I'm
time
asking the
wasting.
wrong guy.
Yeah,
I'm asking the wrong
I
guy.
I I I don't I don't necessarily get it. I'll say that. Uh,
With him specifically or just the prospect watching?
with him at 12, um, we're talking 17 or trading down a little bit, and like maybe, but I feel like uh, uh, again, I just like
And 7'4" wingspan does nothing for you.
I don't think he's making it past 12. I don't think he's getting to 12
I've
the
seen a
more I think about it.
I've seen a lot of, not a lot, but I've seen a handful of 23-year-olds, 24-year-olds taken up there and taken by teams that want those ready-made guys that seem like they're ready. It's like, are they ready for the Western Conference Finals?
Yeah.
And I don't think that everyone that wants him thinks that but I do think your imagination runs wild, right? The best version of that player. And there's just such little runway for him to become that. And even guys like, AJ, some of these older picks, like he didn't have a lot more runway to get a lot better. And it's been fantastic, but they got him with such less of a premium, Uh,
I think the way to look at a player like that is like we know Wiggins wasn't and we know Joe wasn't. So, and I mean, Yaxel's not too much younger than those guys. So I think the idea is like, could he give value next year off the bench? And again, he's almost 6'10". He's like 240 pounds. He's a legitimately he's a player we don't have, like the kind of player we don't have. So I think it'd be much easier for him to get on the floor given that
And can shoot, which I feel like when you talk about size, it's always like, what are you giving up to get size on the floor? And
awesome rebounder, can handle, good passer,
yeah, well,
dog loud.
oh, again, awesome college rebounder. I mean, like, I
Gosh,
just,
okay.
but I will say, if I have to
On the
squint,
most productive team in the country that won a national title, his whole starting five is getting drafted in the first round.
uh huh, uh huh, uh huh,
Quality player.
uh-huh. Yeah, I'm not
But
saying he's a
I
bad
hear you. I mean,
prospect. I
I
think
I
maybe Keegan Murray is maybe. I mean, he's not that player, but uh, uh, you
there have
know,
been others.
so
Chris Duarte.
that they can plug in. They can plug in. Well, Duarte did for a minute, and Murray, the shine's off Murray now too. But if you're looking for that kind of plug and play, not starting in the Western Conference Finals, but really being able to carve out a role because you really believe in the floor, I guess is what you say
Yeah.
in draft
Well,
season. Then
and
I could understand it. I won't like rage, but I don't. Wouldn't be my pick. But my pick is always like trade up as high as I can to get the player I believe in, and they're really at 12 anyway. So
I like it most when they draft somebody who can't play for a year. That's my preference.
I would love to see the person they draft be available to
before or
play
after
summer
they
league.
tear their ACL.
Exactly. Exactly.
Um, Steve Kerr notably hates kids and will not play them. So I feel like I'm worried that Yaxel's gone at 11 because Steve Kerr can't stomach playing a rookie actual minutes, and I think that's like a good compromise between he and ownership and management is like, well, he's a rookie technically, but he's like, he can almost rent a car. So
That's another one. I wasn't Kerr at the time. Wait, when did Steve Kerr start coaching the Warriors?
2015.
Okay, yeah, a couple of years before. But I think Andre Robertson was Warriors were gonna. No, they did pick him. It was something. Of course, that's later in the draft, but he's a little older. Plug and play guy that the Thunder had to finagle from the Warriors, who were just above them back in that draft. Whenever that was, it was before he was coaching.
Wes is a big Robertson guy.
I love the shooting.
Oh, Cray, are you excited for summer league?
Yeah. I mean, I love summer league. Yeah, yeah. Again, I refuse to learn anything from summer
Uh-huh.
league. But fun times. Yeah, we'll get some Topich vibes or
Wes and I'll
something.
try and bait you into some Topich proclamations after some summer league games.
Yeah. Double that, what'd you say, 16 and a half minutes? Let's go 33.
Yeah, we'll get that minutes number up for you, I'm
So
sure.
back to the starting five conversation.
Yes.
Shea who? Can Shea and Topic coexist? Is this the Giddy problem all over again?
Speaking of, I do think we will run into some conversations with Topic that resemble the Giddy conversations quite a bit towards the end of the Giddy years.
I like him better as a project than Giddy for this team, but it's still just such a tall order.
I like your optimism here, Cray. You've inspired me.
He's an inspiring story. Why are you rooting against man, the guy's been through enough. You want to, end his career on top of all this? Cruel.
I just want him to go spread his wings in a lower stakes environment, if I'm being honest. But I'm here for it. If it works out, obviously more the merrier. Wes, you got any final thoughts about the off season, about Sam, about anything?
I mean, in Presti we trust. I don't know what else to say.
Mhm.
I mean, just as I think through the season, obviously coming off the championship, being able to add McCain, I mean, what a run. What a run. And I'm excited to see what happens this summer and what happens next year.
Cray, what are you watching right now? You got anything to report on good shows or movies?
Yeah, so noticing all of my Thunder followers and those I follow turning to Love Island USA, but I gotta say, me and my wife, Love Island UK is where it's at. They're simultaneously going, and it's just better slang. It is maybe because it's less close to home, and I don't watch a lot of American reality TV to begin with, but we're very British. We love the British Breaking Show. It's not out right now, but that's the main one for me. I know, very high brow.
Wes, what are you and what are you and your wife watching?
My wife and I are watching. We restarted Succession and are on episode 1, season 10, as soon as I hang up this, or as soon as we end this pod. So,
Where
yeah.
where would you have it ranked? Like, is it in your top 3, like, favorite shows ever? It doesn't have to be, I'm just curious.
Yeah. It's kind of a moving target. Whatever show I'm watching currently is my favorite. I mean, it's strong contention. It would definitely be up there. It's my kind of show, I guess.
It is your kinda show. It is like The Big Short, it's very Big Short coded.
Yes.
Adam McKay.
Well, to go from the Knicks in the finals to last night, us watching Succession was really, it's just New York vibes all the way.
Alright, that's a wrap. Daily Thunder podcast. Thank you, Wes. What a debut. Many more to come. Thanks for joining. Cray, uh, thanks as always, man. Go watch some prospects, live a little.
Never mind. Okay.
Strong ending.
All right.
Perfect.
Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week. You'll hear from Brandon with us probably before the end of the week. We have lots more to discuss. So stay tuned. Thanks for listening. This is the Daily Thunder podcast.